42-year-old Judith Nesbitt lived in Irvine, California in 1980 with her husband and 4 children. On November 26, she left her house to go to Newport Beach. She was going to show her family's boat named Felicidad 4 to a man who she believed to be a potential buyer. When Judy had not made it back home, her husband got worried, so he went to the boat to see what was going on. He found her body in the bedroom of the boat. She had been shot. Her credit cards, checkbook and money she had on her was stolen. Investigators found strands of hair on the boat that had not belonged to any of the family members. It was believed that a night stalker could be responsible for taking Judy's life. Witnesses soon came forward and said that they saw Judy with a Caucasian man. This made it less likely to be the night stalker, as he was believed to be Hispanic. Eventually, the night stalker was discovered to be Richard Ramirez and was confirmed that he had no involvement in what happened with Judy. Investigators released sketches of the man that was seen with Judy just before she passed away. In 2002, investigators were able to create a DNA profile of the suspect from the forensic evidence they collected from the crime scene back in 1980. It was submitted to the combined DNA index system, but no matches could be made, unfortunately. In 2018, Green Lab, an independent company, was able to create a more detailed DNA profile. They were then able to make use of genetic genealogy to identify the suspect. On August 9, 2021, it was announced by the Newport Beach Police Department that Kenneth Alwyn Marks is the person who ended Judy's life. Frustratingly, he passed away in 1999. Not much is known about him, just that he was 44 years old when he passed and he was described as a loner. Judy's eldest son, Steve Nesbitt, had this to say, "Personally, I wish he was still alive. I would have loved to have had a knock on his door and have handcuffs on him." Judy's husband, Fred, passed away earlier this year, but he was told about the case being close to solved before passing at the age of 85. 20-year-old Michelle Louise Wyatt lived in San Diego, California in 1980. She was attending Grossmont Community College and was a cashier at Safeway in Mission Hills. Michelle lived in a condo complex at Carrigan Court in Santee, San Diego with a roommate. On October 9, 1980, her roommate made a startling discovery. Michelle's body was found on a living room floor. She had been assaulted and strangled using a telephone cord. Investigators made a timeline of events. Michelle's boyfriend left her condominium and locked the front door in the early morning on October 9. Soon after he left, witnesses heard screaming coming from where Michelle lived, but nobody called 911. 2 separate DNA profiles were taken from Michelle's body. One belonged to her boyfriend and the other from an unknown man. Michelle's boyfriend was soon eliminated as a suspect. Detectives interviewed numerous people but were unable to identify the unknown man, and the case went cold. In 2001, the unknown suspect's DNA profile was entered in the combined DNA index system. No matches could be made, however. In September 2020, investigators made use of genetic genealogy to help identify the suspect. Finally, in August of 2021, it was announced that John Patrick Hogan is the man that took Michelle's life. He was 18 years old at the time of the crime. He was born in Arizona in 1961. In his 70s, he moved to San Diego and attended Santana High School. He lived less than a mile away from Michelle. John also had friends who lived in Michelle's complex. In 1979, he joined the Air Force. He was stationed in New Mexico and moved around between California, Idaho, and Arizona. He passed away from a heart attack on October 9, 2004 in Phoenix, Arizona. He was 42 years old. He took Michelle's life on October 9, 1980, so this meant that he passed away 24 years after Michelle to the day. Detectives do not believe that he is connected to other unsolved crimes in San Diego, but have shared a case with agencies where he lived, specifically in his 70s and 80s. Michelle's parents are now in their 80s and were relieved when a detective came to tell them the news. Michelle's boyfriend was also present. he still often visits her parents. Michelle's mom, Louise Wyatt, had this to say, "I'm glad to find out that he is gone. But I'm missing something. What is the word I'm looking for? Closure. I don't have closure, and that is what I need. At least now I know this guy isn't out there anymore, but I would still like to get him," she said. 52-year-old Daniel Mason Woolley lived in Clayton, Idaho in 1980. It is an extremely small town with a population of just 7 people. At 10 p.m. on September 22nd, 1980, Daniel was drinking at a sports club bar. A fight broke out between Daniel and a man named Walter James Mason. Daniel saw that Walter was hitting his wife, so Daniel and 2 other men escorted Walter out of the bar, and a fight took place. Walter made it to his pickup truck and took out 2 pistols. He then shot Daniel once on the right side of his head, just above the ear. Walter then managed to flee. Investigators were not able to find him. A wanted poster was put up, but did not lead anywhere. It would take an unbelievably long time for investigators to find Walter. In October 2019, they finally found him. He had been living under the alias Walter James Allison. He was arrested and taken back to Idaho to face trial. In June of 2021, Walter passed away while in custody at the age of 85. It was revealed that Walter had lived the last 25 years in Rising Star, Texas. He lived with a woman named Beverly Meacham, who passed away a few months before he was arrested. Beverly's daughter did some research on Walter and found that he was wanted in Idaho. She told investigators, and it led to the arrest. Daniel's son, Brett, had this to say, "After nearly 40 years of running free, the man who took my father's life passed away last night. I hope the devil has time for him. This has been a long chapter."